And we are back. Next up, we have Cheuk with Under and Dunder Python secret functions. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hello. So, yeah, thank you for having me at PyConline AU. So this is special, because I always want to attend, PyCon AU. But this year I have the comfort of being at home. And actually, the funny thing is that I am actually in London right now. So it's 5 a.m. for me. So if I look a little bit strange, that's because I'm in the middle of the night. But anyway, so yeah, I'm Cheuk, and these are my contact detail there on the slides here. You can find me there. You can contact me afterwards because well, I may not be able to be in the chat right after the talk because it's in the middle of the night for me. But if you leave me a message, in the chat or like kind of DM me on Twitter, I can get back to you. So also I stream on Twitch. I'll go to that a little bit later. So yeah, again, like I introduce myself, and then I work on a lot of open source projects. I love open source projects. So these are the project I'm working on, and I'm so lucky that I work for an open source project full time. It's a graph database that can do Git things. So it's Terminus DB. If you're interested, talk to me afterwards. And also I organize a lot of conference. So PyData Global is happening in November, and also there will be Pyjamas. That CFP is open. If you're interested, again, check pyjamas.live. And I stream on Twitch. This is where you can find me. I stream 3 or 4 times a week, and well, the time zone may be a little bit difficult for you, but you can watch all the videos that I've created, on my website as well. So yeah, so today I'm going to talk about the Python internal functions. They're a lot of fun looking at it. So what I'm going to do now is that I will go to the Jupyter Notebook. That's like where we gotta this is our playground. So we gotta have a look at what's inside Python function and what's the secrets that is hiding. So yeah, so this is this is a Jupyter Notebook. It looks a little bit different because I like dark theme, and this is called Jupyter Themes. If you're interested, have a look there. So first of all, I will have this here that I define a class. I assume that you have you know how to define a class with some methods in Python. So this is a very simple one. It's just a demonstration, and inside a Python class that you have the Dunder in it. So this is secret functions that I call these Dunder functions, secret functions that you all know, right? So if you have written a class that, of course, like I think most of the time, the first thing you do is like write down Dunder init, and then self, and then you do something. For here, I just print out. I have created an instance, so I will see afterwards. And then I have a internal function. So this start with an underscore. This is understood to be an internal function in Python. Usually the case is that when I generate documentation with Spains and all these things that like I could actually tell Spains that, oh, this is an internal function. Don't worry about the doc strings. Just keep it. So because this is the user should not be calling it, right? Because this is only for internal use. So it's not designed for a user to call this method to do something. So it's not a public API. So the other thing you could do is to put a double underscore, a dunder, in front of the function name. So this is, I call it a secret function. So again, like you should not be using it, right? Because, well, it's a secret function for a reason. So you should really not be calling it. But we'll see what's the difference between underscore and dunder in a bit. Also, you could have your normal function, normal method there. Here, it's just like I would get a string as a message. I'll just print it out. So usually these ones are the ones that is the public could use it. So if you, for example, you package your library, package this my class for people to download on pip, and then if they use it, then you usually you need to provide a doc string that is explaining what this method do, what parameters takes, and this stuff. So this is just a example, a very simple one. I try to use this numpy style docstring here. So for all this detail, I don't have time to explain, but if you're interested, you could ask me, so what is a numpy style docstring, what's the difference, how to write a docstring, all this stuff. I can also tell you, but not today. So how private is my func? And yeah, so well, let's have a look at what we have created. So first of all, I have to run this cell, like all the Jupyter Notebook. I have to run the cell one by one. So now, if I just create an instance, I can just like call my class. This is, I assume that you're familiar with this. And then, of course, I can call a method. It works fine. This is my message. It's just printed out. The thing that you may or may not know, if you have used Jupyter Notebook before or not, that you could use the question mark to call a docstring. So this is very nice because usually what happens is that when you are using some like libraries that you forgot how to use it, for example, pandas, even though I use it a lot and I still forgot like some methods like how to use it and all this stuff, then you could do this question mark thing even without an internet. You don't have to Google it to find out what it is. So this is quite nice. So you can see the docstring there, and yeah. So another thing for this internal function, well, I should not be calling it, but I can still call it. Well, Python is not stopping me from doing it. It's just that I have stepped into a zone that basically you have been warned that you shouldn't go in. But for the secret function, oops, what happened? Why there's no secret function there? So the secret function is really hidden from me. I can't really call it from outside of the object. So where does it go? So today I'm going to show you a trick that is called dir. So in dir, it's very handy because you can basically look what is inside a class object, an instance, and Python object. So you can see that I have this my print and my func there is just there, and there's a bunch of like Dunder thing that really looks like the Dunder init but with different names. So these are default methods or default functions here. Oh, but what is this thing? This looks familiar, but a little bit different. So let's call it and see. So hey, this is my secret function. So it goes here. It basically what Python did is that it will change the name of it. So you see that so you can't just call it like you normally do, just like Dunder secret function. You can't do it that way because Python just make it a little bit difficult to use this method because it's a secret, and it just changed the name of it. It's very straightforward, but if you are not aware, then you won't be able to find it. So there are other like things that Python is doing, hidden like behind the scene that you may not be noticing. One thing is that, for example, you have a sequential object like my list. I've just created it. It's just 1, 2, 3. It's just a demo, so you can look inside. And so this is a list object. So you can see that it got lots of like list method that this are all familiar to us because this is supposed to be like we could use them, right? This is supposed to be for the users. So I can call like append, of course, like and copy and all this stuff, right? Pop. But here we got lots of default as well. So it's like much more than just a normal Python class. And one thing I want to go through a little bit more today is get item here. So this actually makes this list quite special. It makes it a sequential object because let's try to call it, right? So get item. So this is actually, well, this is an attribute, but actually this is a function call. So like for example, if I want to really show you what it is, then you see that is a function actually. So you can call it, and what it does is that it will give me the first element of the list. So basically it's equivalent to this. So what happened is that when you get an element from a list, the get item function or method will be called. So you're doing this normally, but in fact Python is doing this. Okay, so so now let's mess things up a bit. So I create a sequence class, and then I could create a sequence. So I have done it. So so it got the get item method. So this makes a class sequence. Okay, and this one is doing something funny. So this 2 should not be here at this moment. I think I demonstrated last time. I forgot to delete it, but that's fine. Let's just delete it. So so what happened is that when I create a sequence object, so it would just create it, so just like what we did last time, but this time I have an n here, so that's why I put down 3. And but the get item, because the get item is doing funny things, that is just like take a number and it would just do a square of it. So if I get, even though I have nothing in there, I can just like, okay, give me the third element, which basically just calling this get item. So basically just taking a square of that number. I can even do things like, my sequence, I could put in any number here that, I can still get something square back because it's just calling this function. There's no more difference from that, even though I haven't like say that this sequence class contain any element. So that's special. How about length? You know, like because in a list you can call length, and then you can like just see how many elements you have. And now it's at 3 because I think yeah, I think because I have declared it somewhere, it should not have the length there. I don't know why. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. This is my list. Sorry, I'm not that awake. So this is my list. So this is the list I created earlier. So of course the length is 3. But for my sequence, there is no length there, right? Because I haven't created anything here. It's just like it just had to get items. So that's why I can do this square bracket thing. But otherwise, I can't do anything else. So let's have a look. Yeah, we don't have it here, just to confirm. So L, yeah, so it's not there. So what can we do? Well, what can we do is like we can just create a link method, right? So okay, so let's try to do something crazy. And so this is length, and then I don't have to take in a parameter, but I'll just return 1999. 99. So yeah, just be crazy. So I would initialize it the same way I did before, but this time I have length. So when I call it, and it will give me 999 because this is how how I defined it. It doesn't make sense, but it is what it is. So now if you look at dir my sequence, then you will see that we have length this time because I've just declared it and it works funny. So we can also make our object iterable by actually, you know what, I gotta do a little bit of cheating. I gotta copy this because I am afraid that if I do a live coding right now at 5 a.m., I would make mistake and the talk will be 20 minutes or 30 minutes because I'm just fixing myself, my mistakes. So what is the difference here is that this time we will have the self.n equals to n. So like we're really actually storing our initialized number there, and we'll have a count. It's useful afterwards. And we're still doing this crazy thing. This one we did 999. We can just stay the same. And then for the next, so this is the next method. So this actually what makes a an instance iterable. So so basically what is an iterable is basically something like, it will create an iterator when it's put in a for loop. So what it does, for example, if you put it in a for loop like this, so if you put that in a for loop, that the for loop, what it does is we call the Dunder iter that in this case, I'll just give back myself. So itself is also an iterator because it got this next method. So this next method basically marks that this, this class will, the instance of this class is an iterator because it got the next method. So by having iter returning self, that means that when I put it in a for loop, that I would give you an iterator, which is myself, which, yeah, of course, I am an iterator because I have next, right? So this is what happened. Basically, I just check that, okay, so if my count is less than myself, then I would just increase it, and then I would just print it out and return the square of it. So it's just doing something crazy again. So let's create this instance. So now this time my sequence is an iterable class. So so you can see that I have next, I can call it. First time is 1, the second time is 2, but it prints out 4 because I just make it do like so. So if more than that, it will just stop the iteration because we need that to stop the for loop. So yeah, about how iterable and iterator work, I've also explained that in my stream before. But if you have questions, you can ask me. I can tell you, not today, but in another time. So I have 1 minute left. What I've got to do is that I got to refresh what I did here, like my class thing. I got to refresh this, and then I got to put it in a for loop just to prove my point that it works in a for loop. Okay, so I think that's the end of my talk, and I think I can take one quick questions. Otherwise, you can DM me, and yeah.
That was so wonderful. I don't have a question. I just have praise for you waking up at this weird hour to join us from halfway across the planet to teach us some fundamentals of Python internals. That was so great, and I will let you get back to sleep now.
Yeah, but feel free to message me. I would reply you. Maybe there's a time difference. I can't reply you immediately, but I would get back to you. Yeah.
And people can contact you on social media?
Yeah, you can find me on my Twitter. I just got to go back to my first slide so you can
There
have
we are.
a second look of my. You can find me on my Twitter, and also like my website has all the tutorial that I did before that is recorded, and including the stuff that I've talked about. That I say that I would explain it another day. You can find the explanation there. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I'll let you get to sleep.
Right.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Bye.